Welcome back, Mets fans, and welcome back, baseball fans. Today's video is going to be about the final piece, the last piece of the puzzle. And who is that? This means that we already have a good product, a good team in place. And my thing is, we have a phenomenal team in place. I'm sure many of you have all seen the Mets have 8 players in the top 100. Plus, they have a lot of minor league players with loads of talent. That's going to be about our video today. First, I want you to like and I want you to subscribe to the channel because we have a lot of great content coming and I appreciate all of your support. Okay. So let's get into the team that we have right now, because if you're going to go after a final piece and potentially pay them $50+ million a year, invest all your resources or a good amount of your resources in this final piece, we want to make sure that we have everything basically set up. And I'm going to tell you that we do. Okay, right now, our top 100 players. And the cool thing about that is not only do we have 8 players in the top 100, we actually have 8 players in the top 61, which I think is even more crazy and phenomenal. Most players who are in the top 50 are destined to be on the All-Star team. I'm going to let you know right now who we have in the top 61. Coming in at number 14, we have Justin Verlander. Coming in at number 15, we have Max Scherzer. At number 21, Francisco Lindor. At number 31, Pete Alonso. At number 45, Jeff McNeil. And number 51, we have Edwin Diaz. So those 6 guys right there are in the top, basically top 50. All of them are multiple All-Star guys, and we have a heck of a lot of talent. The only other team who has 8 guys in the top 100 are the Houston Astros, and that's really a team you love to emulate. A team who has won multiple championships, and a team who is a perennial winner. Great. All right, so coming in at number 54, we have Brandon Nimmo, and number 61, we have Starling Marte. So we have a lot of good pieces in place. What do we have to support those pieces? What do we have in our minor league? And I feel that we actually have so much talent that it's actually reminiscent of the Yankees back in the late 90s. And out of this list right here, I want you to remember 3 players. We have Jeff McNeil, Pete Alonso, and Brandon Nimmo. Those are all homegrown players, guys we've developed in our system. And our system has been very good at producing productive players. I mean, we just let go of Jacob deGrom. He was another homegrown player. We've been very successful and very lucky to have talent come up and be successful. So right now, sitting in the minor leagues, we actually have guys who I think are going to be productive at an all-star level. Francisco Alvarez is somebody who really jumps out. He's a guy who was rated number 3 last year on the prospect rankings, also coming into 2023 as the 3rd-ranked prospect. Francisco Alvarez last year at his age 21 season, he played at AA and AAA. He had only 411 at-bats. He batted .260. He had a .374 on base, slugged over 500. He slugged .511. He had 27 home runs, 74 runs scored, and 78 RBIs. And everybody put this in perspective. He hit 27 home runs and a little over 400 at-bats. You project that over a course of 600 ABs or more, this guy's going to slug near 40 home runs. I mean, that is outstanding potential we have right there. And that's a position of need. We don't have depth at catcher, and the reason why we don't have depth at catcher is because James McCann, a guy we signed for 4 years, actually absolutely stunk. But it's fine. Francisco Alvarez is on the rise, and he's going to be here this year. I predict probably April, May. It's not like we have to worry about like the Wilpon not bringing him up until halfway through the season, so we don't got to pay him. So that's something we don't have to worry about. But another guy I want us all to remember, and everybody knows about this guy, Brett Beatty. He came up with that last year. But what is so special about Beatty? Last year, Brett Beatty, at his age 23 season, he played at AA and AAA in only 362 at bats. He hit 315. He had an on base of 410. He had a slug of 533, 19 home runs, only 2 stolen bases, had 60 RBIs, and he had 76 runs scored. Brett Beatty, he stands 6'3". He's a lefty hitter, and he's got clear power. Brett Beatty, the thing about him is he's not ultra productive when he gets pull happy, but he's a guy who's most effective when he lets the ball travel a little further in the plate and he goes to the opposite field. He's kind of like we all remember years ago David Wright. David Wright was good at going to the opposite field. Even further than that, Mike Piazza. The thing that made him great was he can go to any part of the field. Brett Beatty is a guy like that. Okay, so Brett Beatty is going to have a great opportunity this year because the Mets, they didn't go after Carlos Correa. I promise you that is going to be the best signing that the Mets never made. Going after Carlos Correa would have been the biggest mistake. Of course, he's a name, and it would have been exciting having him here in Queens, maybe for a season or two. But over the life of that contract, it would have been a horrible choice. So everybody, all Mets fans, things happen for a reason, and the reason is we have Brett Beatty, and Brett Beatty's a tier top number 1 prospect. He's number 2 in our system, but he's rated as a tier 1 prospect, so he's got all the potential in the world. But this name right here, this is a guy who has been a top 100 prospect in the past, but I think he's been a little underrated as of late. He's a guy who slipped off our radar, and he's been in a lot of trade packages. But he's a guy who's been getting incrementally better and better each year, and he's a guy who has been working on his body and he's been working on his game. And that guy is Ronnie Mauricio. A couple years ago, we didn't draft him. I believe he was signed. He was a guy who was signed, and Ronnie Mauricio, he was 170 pounds. He's 6'3". He's actually 6'3" guy, a very tall guy. He was 6'3", very slender at 170 pounds. But he has recently put on bulk, and now he is 220 pounds, and he's just came off of winning the MVP in the Dominican League. So he just did that in the fall. Last year, just so you know, his totals for the season in AA, he had 509 at bats. He batted .259, a .296 on base. He had a .472 slug, 26 home runs, 20 stolen bases with 89 RBIs. So we clearly see the guy has power with 26 home runs, and he can run with 20 stolen bases. His problem is his on base was .296, so that means he's not as selective at the plate. So if he gets a little more discipline at that plate, works on his eye, this guy is going to go out of the stratosphere. He's got all the talent in the world, and this is the guy that I foresee could be our best prospect. That's how much talent he has. And I don't want to trade this guy for anybody. That's how much talent and how much belief I have in him. Okay, that being said, we have a very stacked roster, and we have guys who could fill in a catcher, minor league guys who can come up, minor league stars, and Beatty and Alvarez who could fill the catcher and fill the third base position. So those holes are filled. Everywhere else is filled with basically all-stars. Our pitching rotation right now, despite being old, we are set. Our bullpen is led by Edwin Diaz, who is the best reliever closer in baseball. We have other guys in the bullpen, Robinson, Raley. I don't even got to rattle it off. We have a great stacked bullpen right now. What would Shohei Ohtani... I know Shohei would be greater than any team, but you can't say Shohei would be that finishing piece to every team, because we've already seen him on the Angels for the past 5 years, and despite him being the best player in the world, the Angels have gone nowhere. right? So you can't say that he could take any team. It's not like basketball. It's not like LeBron James can take a team from winning 20 games to 60 games. It's not like that. But in this situation with the Mets, where they have a stacked roster, where they have a stacked rotation, a stacked bullpen, a guy who can hit like how Ohtani hits, fill that DH need, and pitch. Not only can he hit like an MVP level, he's also a Cy Young Award winner. So you basically add a bat to your lineup, and you add a Cy Young Award winner to your rotation. To this Mets team, that would catapult us to the next level. That would make us a perennial World Series winner, potentially. We would definitely be in the conversation every year. It would be the Mets. It's their championship to win every single year if we have Shohei with this team, especially with the guys coming up. So there's no way that the Mets shouldn't move heaven and earth to get Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani is so much more valuable to the Mets right now as to where they stand, the roster they have, the resources they have. And Steve Cohen, the owner that they have. I'm telling you right now, the contract that Shohei signs is going to be north of $500 million. And you have to take this into account. Any other team, let's just say Houston takes that contract on. You're like, oh, they're going to be the best team. Yeah, okay. They got good players. But they're not going to be able to sign guys because they're going to be hamstrung. They don't have the resources that Steve Cohen does. So I say that this is the perfect situation where the Mets would be able to thrive with Shohei. It wouldn't affect their ability to go after future players. And they would be able to continually build around Shohei with their core now, plus their minor leaguers that they have coming up. So this is why this is the perfect situation for Shohei, and this is why Shohei Ohtani is the finishing piece, not for every team, but for the New York Mets. That's what I got for you today. Please like and subscribe, and thank you so much for listening. And once again, let's go Mets.